$138,699 per minute. That's how much the world spent developing nuclear weapons in 2019, which works out to about $72.9 billion. That's a tremendous amount of resources going into the development of nuclear weapons, one of the most horrible weapons ever created by mankind, and continues to be created. So we look at 2024, we look at what happened in 2023, take the doomsday clock, and the doomsday clock, at least at the beginning of 2023, was set at 90 seconds. 90 seconds to midnight, which means we're 90 seconds away on the 24-hour clock from total nuclear destruction, which is closer than we've ever been. So when they look at the safety and security of the world, try to determine where we're at, peacetime, wartime, we're closer to mass destruction than we've ever been. There's a lot of things that have fallen into place, right? Be it the war, major war in Europe, the fact that we're, in a proxy war, right? There's wars going on with Russia, everything going on, what's going on in Israel with Hamas, the Middle East. We are closer than we've ever been to nuclear war. Not to say we ever want that to happen. It's been 80 years since a nuclear bomb's gone off. Hopefully that will continue for another 80 years, 1,000 years, and maybe never will a nuclear weapon be deployed and used, right? The consequences would be disastrous. There are, however, a lot of myths around nuclear war, nuclear weapons, what happens if a nuclear bomb goes off, and as a prepper, if the intent is to survive, right, it's important to know fact from fiction, what's real and what's not real. I've been reading the Crescent Kearney book a lot, Nuclear War Survival Skills, Life-Saving, Nuclear Facts, Self-Help Instructions. A lot of great information in there. I'm just trying to pull out some of the myths and facts about nuclear war, dispel some of the bad information that you may have picked up over the years. Just watching TV, right, we see that. I talk to people, and they're like, oh, nuclear war, we just all die. Well, not really. We wouldn't just all die. Not to say it wouldn't be destructive. Large areas of the country destroyed. A lot of people would die in a horrible way, and that's very unfortunate. But not everyone, right? And it is potentially survivable if you have precautions, right? If you take precautions. One of the videos we talked about things like bomb shelters. Bomb shelters actually do work. They're not very common in the United States necessarily. If you're in buildings with shelters and whatnot, that may be an option, but they do work. So the myth we're going to get into today is that a Russian nuclear attack on the United States would destroy all American cities, right? And that's the all. The all part is where the myth comes in, and I said it's a common misconception, even though there are a great deal of nuclear weapons out there. There's been a tremendous amount of money spent on nuclear weapons. It doesn't mean that even if an attack was all out, which it would unlikely be, would destroy all. Like it's, destroy everything. So it's far more likely that all-out nuclear attack would focus primarily on military targets, bases, airfields, ports, key defense factories, then focus on civilian targets. Unfortunately, these targets are often near major population centers. Those cities near a target would likely get severely damaged. So that's what it comes down to, right? If it was nuclear war, if we were exchanging nuclear weapons with Russia, far more likely they would focus on military targets, whether it's our nuclear silos, airfields where bombers would come off, military capabilities, those kind of things. Those are going to be the targets. Unlikely, right? Are we going to see major nukes going into cities? That's horrible even by nuclear war standards. Can't say it wouldn't happen, but unfortunately the targets, the ports, and those kind of things generally are in cities. So there would be secondary effects on many major cities, but once again, the myth is all American cities destroyed. Probably not all. There would be a tremendous amount of damage. There is a resource, nuclearwarmap.com, which maybe we'll do a video on, but you can just go to it, nuclearwarmap.com. It actually is a simulator. It's a nuclear war simulator, and you can go in and say run the simulation, and you can kind of zoom in and out of a map, and it shows the projected timing of attacks and nukes going off here and hitting here, and then you also see expected fallout patterns, which obviously depend on the weather. There are large areas. There are large areas of the country that would unlikely be directly impacted by something like a nuclear war. Certainly, there's going to be secondary impacts of, hey, a great deal of the country has been destroyed. Life would not continue as normal. We would be, post-apocalyptic wasteland, every man for himself and whatnot. Zombies and cannibals running amok. But in terms of the idea that we're all just going to die in the explosion, no. Right, that part at least is a myth. Now, what's more likely than, say, total nuclear war? There are other things we're seeing now, right, like cyber attack and whatnot. I mentioned EMP, the effects of that. Seems far more likely as a weapon. In terms of nuclear weapons, you're talking about mutually assured destruction. Well, is there mutually assured destruction with cyber attack? I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing. Do we cyber attack back? Are we defending ourselves? There's a lot of uncharted territory, a lot of new ways that we've developed over time to destroy ourselves, destroy each other, beyond just nuclear weapons. So even though we're 90 seconds from doomsday and everything going on in the world, I would still suspect the likelihood is pretty low. But once again, survivable. So as before, as I'll recommend again, I feel like I'm looping, think about the book, right? There's a lot of great stuff in here, including how to build those bomb shelters. There's actually an entire section in the back of all the different shelter types and how to build them. So it could be something worthwhile. Also things on how to build a Geiger counter, which is pretty cool. Radiation detector could be useful as well. So once again, pushing the book, taking a little information out of it, and just trying to share it with you, get your mind into that kind of prepping mindset. So as always, thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.